Cognitive processing therapy is a subset of cognitive behavioral therapy that uses Socratic critical thinking method to implement an analytical examination and processing of a traumatic event in order to identify and correct inaccurate thoughts, unhelpful beliefs, and the relationship between emotions, thoughts, and behavior. CPT is usually administered over 12 one-hour in-person therapy sessions. The goal is to create a new understanding and analysis of the traumatic event, so that it no longer causes distress and impairment in current functioning. Formal CPT processing of trauma begins when the client first writes a narrative of the traumatic event. In collaborative alliance with therapists, the client examines inaccurate thoughts and unhelpful beliefs about the traumatic event in order to remove any automatic thoughts and modify any maladaptive behavioral coping mechanisms. Some functional areas where traumatic experiences often impact clients' perception are safety, trust, power, control, esteem, and intimacy. As the client develops critical analysis skills to identify and replace inaccurate thoughts, unhelpful beliefs, automatic reactions, and maladaptive behavior, these skills can be used to examine other life events in order to improve functioning and quality of life.
So, with this worksheet, unfortunately, the hardest part is going to be the first step. So, I'm going to ask you, can you describe the event or thought or belief that is causing these unpleasant thoughts for you?
Well, it was the last, I'm sorry, this is really, really triggering for me to talk about it. Talking about it brings me back to that horrible night. It was the night of our last final of grad school. We were celebrating that we had finally made it after all the tears and the long nights and the endless amounts of homework. It was late, and everyone was starting to leave and go home. But before I wanted to leave, I had to go to the bathroom, drinking and all. So I was pretty drunk, I'll be honest, that night, and I was stumbling to the bathroom. I barely remembered some of the stuff that happened that night. When I got inside, I noticed someone had followed me in. Once that man got inside, he locked the door and sexually assaulted me. It was really pretty violent.
I'm sorry to hear that. I know you must have felt powerless.
Yeah, I did. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, that's terrible. But I want to thank you for sharing, because it does take a lot to do that. You have to be strong to be able to, go through that process again, even with just describing it verbally. So I just want to let you know that I see the strength in you already, right now, just in front of me.
Thank you.
So you said you haven't been sleeping well since this event happened to you. What other things have you been experiencing?
Well, like I said, I can't sleep, and when I do, I have these reoccurring nightmares they kind of take different forms. Like sometimes I'll be in a bathroom, sometimes I'll be on campus somewhere, sometimes I'll be at my job, but it's always essentially revolving around my sexual assault. So I'm irritable a lot of the times. I'm anxious. I'm super sensitive to loud noises and lights and touch. I don't like when people touch me anymore, which is really kind of taking a toll on my relationship. I don't have much of an appetite. I feel emotionally exhausted. I don't have the attention for work or any other focused demanding activities. I just can't concentrate long enough to do them.
I want you to now tell me a thought, or remember stuff points as we call them. Tell me a thought that's related directly to your traumatic event.
Okay, well, one that I tell myself all the time is that I deserved it. I was drunk and clearly not paying attention to what was happening around me. I should have known better. I should have screamed louder. I should have fought him off.
So I'm going to stop you right there. I just want to point out something to you. So you seem to be getting stuck on this thought of, I deserve this, I deserve to be raped, I'm to blame. When you say these things, how do you feel? And how strongly, from a scale of 0 to 100, 0 being you don't believe in it at all, or 100 being you fully believe in this with no doubt, believe in this thought that you deserve this?
So I feel ashamed, I feel guilty, scared, disappointed, enraged, and also kind of embarrassed. There's such a mix of different feelings that come up when I think about it. And I believe 98% of what I'm saying about myself.
So, out of these feelings that you just told me, rate those emotions on the same scale, 0 to 100. 0 being that you don't feel it at all, and then 100 being that you strongly feel these emotions when you think of your own trauma.
So I guess I'd have to say shame is about a 95, guilt about an 80, scared a 70, disappointed in myself mostly is about a 75, enraged at a 50, and embarrassed at 45.